We're going to be looking at some new software, RouteSmart Online, and we're going to give you a demonstration or a quick summary of RouteSmart Online. I'm joined by a couple of my colleagues who are going to look at both RouteSmart Online, and then we're going to take a look at SmartSuite, give you a quick view of the SmartSuite software. Let me first introduce my colleagues. So I'm joined today by Andy Clues, Client Services Director. Hi, Andy. And I'm joined by Nathan Birch, who's our product consultant, who's going to be giving us a quick race through SmartSuite later on. Well, thanks very much for joining us. The first thing I'd like to do is just give you a little bit of a preliminary note about two events. One is actually coming up quite fast. It's next week, and it's the traditional Integrated Skills Christmas webinar that we've run for several years now. I'm looking forward to this. This is next Thursday, so if you're available, then please put it in your diary, and please sign up. If you've not had an invite already, you can sign up on the Integrated Skills website. So I'm going to be joined by Dr. Anna Willits, past president of CIWM, Ben Maisie, who's the chair of CIWM Wales, and Paul Frith from Frith Resource Management. And of course, I'm joined as well by now our Christmas webinar regular pianist, Simeon Walker, who will be playing some tunes for us and stirring that Christmas spirit. There is a quiz, and we'll be having some really good chat and discussion. This year, we're going to be thinking about that question of three and four weekly waste collections. And what would our advice to government be, given that they've not said anything yet on the previous Conservative policy on that one. Obviously, Ben from CIWM Wales will have a very clear view on that, but it'll be interesting to discuss that. And then we'll be talking about whether recycling should be for everyone, and so whether it's okay to make exceptions in areas that you're not servicing for low participation or whatever, or whether that's part of a responsibility is to actually provide recycling services and educate the public. So yep, those are going to be two interesting topics, but please join in, and look forward to seeing you next week. And then I just want to cast forward into next year and to give you a date of the diary, 6th of February 2025. We're going to be at the APSI Street Cleansing and Street Scene Seminar, and that is going to be at the National Motorcycle Museum in Birmingham. We're actually the headline sponsor for that event, and we'll be talking about SmartSuite for street cleansing, look at the project where we've optimized SmartSuite for street cleansing, including things like telematics on the brushes. So we'll be there on the 6th of Feb. Please put it in your diary. A little bit about us, for those of you who've never come across us before, Integrated Skills, just a little sort of recap. We are software solutions and waste management consultancy. In the main, this has been route optimization, navigation and service verification, and software systems to manage your environmental services. We are GIS fanatics, so we love a bit of GIS, and in the main, our software solutions are based in some way in and around GIS solutions. We also do environmental management. We've got a planning and permitting team, and I also lead a team who do waste composition analysis, which is can be good fun, and other times is very messy. A little bit about the background. We've been going many years. We've got a set of private and public and private sector clients across a whole range of not only environmental services, but logistics, utilities, parcel, post services. And one of the highlights for us as a company is that in 2021, we became an employee-owned company. And so everyone who works for Integrated Skills has got a vested interest in making sure that they deliver and they provide good customer care for our clients. A little bit about ourselves and our solutions. So we've already mentioned route optimization. Today we'll be talking about our in-cab technology too. What we won't be touching on today is our trade waste management module or our jobs management module, but we provide both of those, and both of those are detailed in our G-Cloud 14 entry if you wanted to have a look, visit that. So today we're going to be having a look at RouteSmart Online, and for some of you this has been much previewed. You'll know it's been on its way. For some of you, maybe you've never heard of it before. but I'm going to ask my colleague Andy Clues really to take us through RouteSmart Online. What is it? How does it work? And what should anyone who's currently using standard RouteSmart desktop do about the situation? So Andy, I'm going to hand over to you. Thanks very much for joining us, and the floor is yours.
Great, thanks Stuart, and yeah, good afternoon everybody. This marks probably definitely the biggest change in our route optimization solution, certainly in my time at Integrated Skills, which is about 18 years now, and a big step forward in terms of the product that we're promoting for high density route optimization. So Stuart, if you could skip through, or can I control the slide, Stuart? Okay, great, thank you. Okay, so RouteSmart Online is a new online application, as the name would suggest, for waste and recycling high density routing. We have moved away from the traditional ArcMap platform to an online platform, still powered by Esri Maps, but utilizes a simple interface with easy data management. What we've attempted to do with RouteSmart Online is address some of the challenges of the traditional version of RouteSmart for ArcGIS, as well as the imminent retirement of that ArcMap product. Some of you on the call might be aware that as of March 2026, ArcMap as it exists right now will be retired by Esri, and so preparations for that date have been underway for some time, resulting in today's announcement about the launch of RouteSmart Online for the UK market. We can support multi-day routing within RouteSmart Online. We have multiple modes within the system, which I'll touch on in a moment, planning and dispatch. And being an online platform, we support things like single sign-on. And for us, really importantly, we have a one-button integration with our back office and in-cab system SmartSuite. Now, RouteSmart Online, being an online platform, utilizes RAS, routing as a service, which anyone who's spoken to me in the last couple of years will have heard about. RAS is the cloud-based system that holds the high-density routing algorithms for very quick, rapid optimization tasks, and the optimization of our waste recycling routes very, very quickly. We're not reliant within RouteSmart Online for local processing power. It's all done in the cloud. And with it being cloud-based, built in Amazon Web Services, it will scale up and down based on demand. So effectively, if everybody were to press the generate solver at the same time, AWS servers will scale up in order to be able to handle that load and will rapidly create those new routes for you. Some headlines on the functionality. Of course, what we are taking into RouteSmart Online are all of the key functions available in RouteSmart Desktop, but some of the finer details and some of the nuances and some of the perhaps some of the more complicated features are now hidden behind the scenes to create that more user-friendly interface. But of course, the primary goal remains the same. It's to plan and manage your routes with safety and efficiency in mind, creating routes that are balanced and compact. We also have the ability to set different user roles within RouteSmart Online. So you can allocate different tasks for the route optimization process, whether it's around data management, producing some maps, fine-tuning your routes. Those different tasks can be allocated to different user roles within the organization. So you have users with different sets of capabilities and preferences within the system. We've also attempted to make data exchange much easier as well, interfacing with your route data. So we can import data into RouteSmart Online using a standard data model. That at the moment is via a CSV file integration, but for the future we'll be working on an API integration to make that even even easier. Security and privacy, of course, is really important for any online platforms, and so that's at the heart of things as well. Data is stored in a secure environment and is regularly tested to ensure compliance with things such as SOC 2 and GDPR. Some of the other key features, I mentioned multiple user roles. That to extend that means you can also have multiple or even unlimited accounts within reason, of course. So no longer are we limited by the kind of primary and secondary user or license model that we've had to this point. An administrator within your organization can create their own accounts, set the different user permissions, and manage those internally. We'll be managing the data updates in terms of the maps, the base maps for UK local authorities using Ordnance Survey. We'll be managing those. For other clients using HERE data, they're also managed on a quarterly basis as well. Software updates, of course, will be automatic, and when a release has been made, the next time you log into the system, you'll see some release notes to show what has actually changed within the system. Now, we're not leaving ArcGIS behind completely. There is interoperability with ArcGIS Pro. Within RouteSmart Online, there is a one-click button to be able to effectively package up your data from RouteSmart Online to be able to view within ArcGIS Pro. Now, there are some RouteSmart functions and features available within the ArcGIS Pro environment, and we can talk about those at another time, or perhaps on a one-to-one basis. I've mentioned a couple of times already how easy to use RouteSmart Online is. We're saying that you'll pick this up within a few hours, certainly no more than 1 day's worth of training required to pick up the system. And of course, that high availability and redundancy built into the AWS infrastructure is there by default. Now, I'm not today going to take you through a live demo just because it's a short time frame. What I have done is taken a few screenshots just to show what the interface actually looks like, and I'll talk through those briefly before handing over. And what you can see on the screen now is the main page for interacting with your data, and to be able to view summary tables of statistics that you'll all be used to from the current version of RouteSmart. It's extremely intuitive in how to use. The responsiveness is excellent. Zooming in and zooming out is immediate. And for those of you who use touchscreen machines, you can pinch, zoom, and pan around the map using your touchscreen on your machine. So it's a very easy to use system, one that we're hoping our users will pick up very, very quickly. We can control things like route plans within RouteSmart Online. It's a slight departure from what we've been used to with the various different solver options and menu systems that we have in the desktop version. But route plans allow us to control at a default level or at an individual route level things like our vehicle makeup, the fleet profile with different capacities of vehicles. You control in there things like your pre-route time, post-route time, breaks, and you can also build in those specific trips to the tip as well. And the eagle-eyed amongst you will see there that I've got a route plan labeled as a 4-day week. I've cleverly assigned that to Monday to Friday. But if you were to have a route plan that is in fact different on certain days, perhaps over the weekend, you can control your route plans on a day-by-day level and have a different set for different days of the week if required. Executing the solvers is really simple. We have a run solver icon on the screen that's attached to our summary table, and that allows you to create routes, sequence your routes, and call those same algorithms that you've been using in the desktop product, just with that much more simplified interface. It can be used to create service days and routing territories, or if you want to set up your data in the way I've got it shown on the screen here, I'm showing only my Wednesday service day, and I'm asking the solver to create new routes for me there using my default route plan, which is to request 8 routes are created. When we're modeling using RouteSmart Online, if we are modeling variations on our current routes, there is the option to anchor those new routes within the current routes to minimize change. And that's effectively allowing us to run a balance solver just to make smaller tweaks and changes to re-optimize our rounds with the minimum of change. Route editing is executed in a very similar way to the current version of RouteSmart. We can lasso, we can select by streets, or we can select by polygons, points on the map. You'll see that I've got a selection of some locations there highlighted in blue. Selection statistics are shown on the screen for that selection of properties. And again, when we're viewing our data on a day-by-day basis, we've got a drop-down list of routes that we can choose from to swap our properties onto. And of course, we get a confirmation message there that we're happy to make that change and we want to go ahead and do that. In terms of a workflow, very much the same as what we do now. We go through our route editing phase, and then we'd call the sequence solver to re-optimize the travel path and sequence order of the collections for those routes. When you've completed your route editing and you're ready to export your data to another system, we have a standard export function that allows you to take the data into a CSV file. But of course, with us having our own back office and in-cab technology system, we've got a shortcut to take our data straight into the SmartSuite environment and start rolling those routes out in the vehicles. It's a 2-click tool, one to execute the send to SmartSuite function, and a second to confirm that we intended to do that in the first place, which is what you can see on the screen right now. Packaging up that data ready for SmartSuite takes seconds, and once that's completed, you get a successful export message on the screen, and then you can go about continuing to make any other route modeling scenario solutions as you wish, knowing that that package of data has been sent to your back office system. And just as if to prove the point, that's a screenshot there of the data that was in RouteSmart Online, shown within our service maintenance module of SmartSuite in our back office system. Now, the intention of today is just to give you a flavor of what's available in RouteSmart Online. But I want to reassure everyone who's still a big fan of RouteSmart for ArcGIS, it is still supported, and we will continue to support it. We still use RouteSmart for ArcGIS internally ourselves. It's a product we know and love, and allows a lot of flexibility in terms of tweaking those behind the scenes parameters that are always useful for individual user cases. In the RouteSmart Online world, those settings are under the hood, they're hidden away, and they're configured as part of an onboarding process. But if they do need to be changed, we can support that and provide that as a service to change some of those lesser used under the hood settings. In terms of our next steps, as I say, RouteSmart for ArcGIS will continue to be supported. We will be offering test and trial accounts of RouteSmart Online in the future, starting in the new year. And then for any clients who are suitably impressed with the new system, which I hope will be many, we can start talking to you about a migration plan where we will look after the onboarding and implementation of RouteSmart Online, taking your existing workspaces, setting them up within ArcGIS, within RouteSmart Online, and then providing you with any relevant training. There'll also be a series of webinars where we start to look at some of the detail behind RouteSmart Online, and at some point in the first or second quarter of 2025, we'll also be announcing the tools that are available within RouteSmart for ArcGIS Pro, which, as I mentioned earlier, are not designed to be a full replacement for the current RouteSmart for ArcGIS version, but there are extensive tools specifically aimed at the street service routing segment. Okay, so that brings us to the end of my part of the webinar, but I'd invite anyone who has any questions to jot them down in the chat or to email me separately. We'll combine those questions together and pass them through, circulate them around to everyone who's attended today. So thanks very much, and I'll hand back over.
Thank you, Andy. Just a note, really, that Andy and I, although it looks like we're sitting in our office, are actually on tour at the moment. We are arranging to meet existing clients and prospective clients, and to go through in more detail what we're talking about today. So Andy would do a demo of RouteSmart Online, and we do a demo of SmartSuite. And just to say that we actually carried out our first presentations a couple of weeks ago, and I think we've now got our first authority who's keen on the idea of transferring across. So yeah, we'll look forward to seeing you. We'll be getting in touch with you. If we've not already spoken to you, then we'll be getting in touch with you shortly to arrange a date to come over and see you. Andy talked a lot there about the importance of the software being simple to use, and I know for many of you, it's been one of the challenges for RouteSmart over the years. It's very intelligent, but actually, a number of you have been asking for some of the functionality just to be a little bit simpler to use, keeping the same detail and the same power of the algorithms, but actually changing the front end. And I'm saying that because that sort of links through to the second part of this webinar now, which is to talk a little bit about SmartSuite. I know I've only got a few minutes left of the 30 minutes, but to say that we've very much built our in-cab and back office system on that same principle, realizing that there's a lot of de-skilling going on in local authorities, and people really haven't got the time to be managing a number of different systems. So systems need to be as easy to use and intuitive as possible. And for us, the key to SmartSuite is this idea about engaging drivers and crews, because without engaging the drivers and the crews in using an in-cab system, then it's simply not going to be successful. You're not going to get all the data you need. You're not going to get all the coverage or the reporting that you really need to actually run the service. So we've really worked hard on this idea of engaging drivers, making it as simple as intuitive, and using the technology where we can to actually cut out manual steps. And we also talk about just within this suite here is actually just touching a piece of data once, not having anyone touching it more than once. So just a little, a few bullets here. Early adopters, we've already had discussions with a number of people. We've already sold a number of units and systems. Early adopters have said some very nice things about being the most flexible in-cab system they've encountered, which is nice to hear, praising its customizability. And one of our technology partners, I'll get on to talk about technology partners later, have already described it as a superior product. So we're really quite enthused by that, encouraged by their views. I mentioned we worked closely with clients. We actually had a focus group, and we've been working with a focus group for sort of probably going on for 4 years, which was initially about actually working out the priorities and the functionality and the requirements for a successful in-cab system. And the whole idea of simplicity was one of those strong messages that came out. So what we've built is something, a product SmartSuite that displays and communicates not just visually but audibly, which is, again, it's still quite unique in the marketplace. It's communicating service information and route directions, if you've asked for that, if the individual driver is wanting turn-by-turn instructions, in this idea of just-in-time manner. So, they get data provided for them when they need it, just before they're about to make a maneuver, or as they approach a street where they've got to do certain things. So we're thinking that we've tried to find ways of minimizing interaction for the drivers. And I'm going to ask Nathan in a few minutes just to give you a kind of a look at what that looks like in practice. But just to describe the SmartSuite suite, if you like, and we've very much worked on this basis of the single source of truth. How can you improve service quality and performance? Well, it's got to be just one set of data that everyone is actually working to and everyone's looking in on. And you'll see this path towards improvement is we've included our four main modules here. So RouteSmart, we've already talked about that, but that's where you build your strategic options and then your detailed route optimization. SmartSuite module is our in-cab navigation and reporting module with two-way messaging and health and safety compliance, etc. SmartSuite Web is the back office live view. So you're seeing there your planned routes versus your actual performance. You're picking up all of the driver reports and notifications. It's where your trade and garden waste management takes place, your jobs management and performance reporting. And then on the fourth icon there, we're talking about public-facing services and third-party integrations. Importantly, we've already built the API integrations API, which will work to actually integrate some of these functions. So CRM access to live data, the API link to website, mobile apps for future public self-serve, and then telematics. We could talk more about what we're doing on telematics in street cleansing, but we'll save that till February in Birmingham. But just to talk there, just to show, a few of the partners that we're already working with and talking to on the detail of integrations. So Fleet Clear, who are looking at the in-vehicle cameras, Cloud9, who provide a citizen app, and Permiserve, who I'm sure many of you have come across, who actually look at the garden waste permitting services. Finally, I wanted to touch on our support. I won't go through that in great detail. I want to pass over to Nathan now, but our support is critical to us and important, and a really important part of what we provide. Nathan, I wondered if we've got a few minutes left. I wondered if you'd share with us for a few minutes, certainly from the driver's perspective, what it looks like using SmartSuite Mobile, and then maybe sum up some stuff in SmartSuite Web. Thanks, Nathan.
Sure thing. Hopefully you can hear me.
We can.
Good stuff. Okay, so this is SmartSuite Mobile. It's been developed for Android devices for the sake of security and affordability. If you were to compare to Windows, it's quite a large difference price-wise. So on screen you can see here lots of blue segments. They are all parts of the route that haven't yet been completed. The grey dashed lines and arrows are non-productive travel, so travel from the depot to the route, to the start of the route, for example. If you just press play here, we can see the little crosshair icon. That's the vehicle, the current location of the vehicle, and the direction it's traveling in. And as it travels with the route guidance instructions, these orange highlights show to present to the driver which direction they're supposed to travel in, where they're going next, along with the orange bar at the bottom, which tells them what to do. It's speaking to me as I speak to you, speaking these instructions out, which unfortunately I don't think you can hear. But as you can see, that first segment's been travelled and it's become dashed. It's a single-sided street, so it's been travelled in one direction, and now that side is completed. If we zoom in a little onto that, you can see all the properties are now grey. These properties with orange circles around, they have an action assigned, which is essentially a comment, but it requires the operator to do something. In this example, it's an assisted collection, and when they select that property, you can see in this context menu, the action is listed there, assisted collection, and then they can confirm that a collection was made, and it changes the symbology on screen there. If we carry on playing the video, it's not a video, it's a live bit of GPS replaying. I'll show you the streets with the orange, the red dashes beside them. They have a comment against them. So, for example, this one is single-sided. And the properties with the similar red and yellow rings around them, they have a comment assigned. So, for example, dangerous dogs, something for the operators to look out for, but something that they can't really do anything about. It's not an assisted collection. It's not a new property. It's just something to be aware of. You might want to put bin store codes on there, that sort of thing. Over here, I've got an example of an ad hoc report. We included this functionality so that if operators saw something that someone else on the team can deal with at another time, they can just drop a pin on the map and say, this is where you'll find some fly-tipped white goods, or damaged street furniture, or graffiti that needs cleaning, or something like that. So any operator anywhere can create these ad hoc reports.
Thanks, Nathan. And importantly, we've got automations built into SmartSuite. So if someone does actually create one of those ad hoc reports, we can set that as an automation that would then go through to automatically send a message through to the fly tipping team that there's a fly tipping occurrence there to deal with. Nathan, I'm aware of the time. I wondered if you would take us into just give us a quick look at SmartSuite Web.
Sure.
Aware, folks, that we've gone slightly over time, but I think it's worth just having at least a look at the touch and feel of SmartSuite Web.
So all of this was loaded, and now it's refreshing. So the live map here presents centered on the location of your choosing, probably the local depot you work from, and all of the vehicles would be scattered on the map. And in this list on the right hand side, you'll see each vehicle on a card. You can select that card. It details who's driving it, as well as which vehicle they're in, and the completion of the route so far. When you select it, it zooms to that vehicle's location and keeps the route in the context of that. You see all this messy dashed lines, they're GPS traces, and you can then see the completed sections of the route, their grade compared to the not complete section of the route. So this is the single-sided street lane here, and all of the properties along the bottom have been serviced because they're on the left, traveling westbound, and then the vehicle's going to come back at some point along the route and do the other side of that street. And you can also see the comments here that are assigned to those properties. We also get live reports through from the vehicle. So in the example I showed of confirming an action, it's then delivered to this column in the live reports menu. Reporting is another way of confirming service verification, or confirming why something couldn't be serviced for properties, and that can be handled through SmartSuite Mobile. I can quickly go over that since it's still open. You can choose a property, choose to report, and then set a report that applies and report, and then that's highlighted on the map here, and it will come through to the live reports section in SmartSuite Web.
Nathan, thank you. There's loads more we could talk about. I mean, I think there's about probably an hour of demo we could actually spend on this. But thanks very much for going through that. Hopefully, it's given you a taster of today. We've given you a taster of RouteSmart Online and SmartSuite. Let me mention Andy and I are on tour, so if you did want to have a closer look, then please get in touch with us. I know it's been short but sweet, this webinar today. Thanks very much though to Andy and Nathan for your input. Thank you very much to those of you who joined us for attending. Please sign up for next week's Christmas webinar, which should be a lot of fun. And please get in touch if you'd like to find out more about what you've seen today. From Andy, Nathan and myself, thank you very much, and bye for now. Cheers.